Hello everyone, RGD here. It's time to finally and officially review my beta CRC game, Wipeout. Real quick, if you don't know what CRC is, I'll put a blurb and a link in the description for you. You've seen some highlights, and the family has said their piece. Now, what's my verdict? First, since this is the first review I've ever posted, well, anywhere really, let's cover the method. Death has set up a rating system for us to use with CRC. It's a 10-point scale in 5 categories. I'll give these, and we'll use those categories as the structure for the review. Afterward, I'll give a summary and my overall score. The overall score will use my own system. I think a simple 5-point system is all you need for a high-level evaluation. Here's how I do it, with a racing video game as an example for each. If the thing does the job, without major problems or doing anything particularly well, it's a 3, something like Need for Speed Underground 2. A lot of games should land here, and you can clock a lot of hours on a 3. If it's noticeably above or below average either way, I'll add or subtract 1. F1 2002 would be a 2, while Extreme G3 would be a 4. The range of 2 to 4 should cover the majority of items. A 1 rating is assigned to the most god-awful entries, things so flawed or broken you can't recommend them to even the most niche fans. Something like Cannondale Cup. Ugh. On the flip side, a 5 is reserved for the classics, the must-plays, the best of a generation. So the PS2 should only have 1 or 2 5-star racing games, like Gran Turismo 3. With that out of the way, what is this game I was randomly assigned? Wipeout is a futuristic racing game made by Psygnosis for the Sony PlayStation in 1995. It's an early entry in the strange future with hyper-fast racers, crazy personalities, weapons, 3D gameplay, and techno music genre. When playing a game for the first time from another era, I think it helps to consider the game's contemporaries. For me, I was playing the likes of Donkey Kong Country 2, Yoshi's Island, and Shivers. With that in mind, Wipeout makes a definite first impression. It's attempting things few games have tried to offer. But how well does it execute? And does it stand up today? Let's find out. Racing games need to do 2 things. They need to feel fun, and they need to feel fast. Woof. Wipeout strikes out on both counts. Several design decisions annoy the player, none more so than how punishing it is to make even the slightest contact with the edge of the track or an opponent. Sure, the idea should be to avoid contact, but with these graphics and these tight tracks, and with weapons coming at you, to have the car come nearly to a stop at the slightest touch is too punishing. Add to the list artificial difficulty in the form of things like AI that can move directly in front of the player though the player cannot see backwards, the lack of map, the short draw distance, weapon balancing between humans and AI, and slow load times. Part of feeling fast is the graphics, which is a later point, but based on gameplay, Wipeout does not play fast, and it's definitely more frustration than fun. There's also a stark lack of options. There are officially 8 drivers to control, though since they are in teams, it's really 4. The cars are supposed to handle differently, but as far as I can tell, they drive pretty much the same. There are only 6 tracks to boot. Now, perhaps this is why they made the design decisions they did. With these limitations, the only way to present replayability is to inflict the kind of difficulty that requires many replays to memorize the tracks and achieve victory. It makes sense, but it's still a problem, especially if you're a modern player with modern options available to you. There's also no multiplayer to speak of. If you have 2 PlayStations, 2 copies of the game, and that LAN thingy, the boomerang deal, you can do 2-player. Otherwise, nada. All you can do is take turns on a time trial, I guess. And if you do finally win enough on the circuit of all 6 tracks, you unlock a new mode where you do the same thing again, only with higher difficulty. Having come nowhere close to achieving this, I have to assume that higher difficulty is just more unfairness, though I don't know. Gameplay is a 3 out of 10 for me. It's not unplayable, but I just don't like it. And A? It's a racing game, there is none. Well, technically there is, but it's just there to sort of explain why your cars hover above the ground. Whatever. This is one area where Wipeout can shine. Considering the era, having a 3D racer like this is pretty awesome. Now, it's not without fault. The hardware prevents there being much in the background, and that goes a long way to preventing the game from looking fast. To be fair, it's hard to tell when you're constantly getting stopped. Maybe when you are skilled it feels faster. I'm going to dock it for the lack of speed feel, but it gets pretty high marks for the time. 7 out of 10. Well, do you like techno music? I generally don't, though it does work pretty well for racing games. The fare in this entry is pretty bland, as are most sound effects. Everything just sounds dull. And the announcer guy who warns you about incoming enemy fire, rockets. He's low volume, he mumbles, and you have no idea how far away, if it's coming from ahead or behind, and it is generally unhelpful. 4 out of 10. This is definitely below average, but I'm being cautious with the penalty because I know I'm biased against the style. Are we talking 1995 or today? Today, sure, pick it up for $10 at your friendly local game store. It's a part of history in a sense, as Wipeout became a successful racing series. It's not so bad that it isn't worth a try. But in 1995, when I had so few games and an abundance of time, and I had to replay what I had to death, would I play these limited tracks over and over with the infuriating difficulty and tightness? I don't see it. This category ties pretty closely to overall rating, and this is not only a game I didn't particularly like, it's short on content to boot. 2 out of 10. Perhaps this is not the best racer to revisit now. What would have made the game stand out in 1995 would have been simply what it was attempting to do and be. The graphics are a highlight for the era, but don't offer much anymore. Thinking back to that time, Wipeout attempts some ambitious things. It's easy to see this becoming a great racing series. The foundation is there. There's enough to draw your attention as an early PlayStation title, but not enough to feel satisfied. There's certainly plenty of challenge if you can stomach it. If it's 1995, have a go at a friend's house or maybe on sale. Probably best as an arcade title if it was ever in arcades. Today, check it out for series history, but you're not missing much if you pass it over. 2 stars. Well, there you have it. Bit of a disappointing way to begin the CRC journey, but hey, the process was fun. Got to play something I hadn't played before, and we tried it. Thanks for including me. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you for future CRC reviews. Farewell.